What is goody, everybody? So in this video, this is just gonna be a straight up Ivica Zubac video. And as the Clippers acquire John Wall, our point guard to the center position is gonna have a really interesting connection. And pretty much one person that could just benefit immensely from John Wall, it could be nothing other than Ivica Zubac. Like we all know how Zubac and the Clippers fans' relationships are. A lot of people love him. Some people just don't like him with a passion. Like I've kind of like somewhat criticized Zubac at times, but deep down, if you really just think about it, if you just like look at every single aspects, Zubac is definitely like one of the more quality bigs. Like he's more of a traditional big, but like basically, in this video, I'm gonna just cover on like the key points on what, what could the Clippers like do with Ivica Zubac to unlock his potential, and it's definitely not trade Ivica Zubac just for some scraps, like how some Clippers fans would essentially do it. Like, come on now, that was just too much of an overreaction. Like, but let's just get into it. So basically 4 points I just typed out in the notes. So the number one biggest factor with Ivica Zubac is he doesn't get used properly as a big man. Like Tyronn Lue, he sometimes gets too used with a small ball lineup that he forgets on how to properly utilize the bigs. Like basically Zubac is just essentially just there to like set screens and get some rebounds, but he does not get fed the ball often. It would just kind of essentially result to sometimes our players like ISO a little bit too much, or like essentially just Zubac is just not getting fed the ball enough. Because if you compare like Zubac's like field goal attempts compared to all the other players, especially big example Miles Turner, Ivica Zubac essentially has like only six field goals attempt while he's still averaging like I believe like I kind of want to say like 10 points a game. I believe like that's what the last stats say. So that's pretty impressive for a guy who's just getting six field goal attempts. While Miles Turner, he's averaging like just a little bit more, like 14 points a game. But Miles Turner is already attempting like around like 10 field goals attempt, and he's playing like longer minutes than Ivica Zubac. So like that could show the red flag of why Zubac is just not being as productive as we would like him. It's just because the way how like the Clippers would essentially just use him is just he's not getting fed the ball enough. And since the Clippers acquired John Wall, that could definitely help that a lot. Like especially, I would love to see the Zubac and John Wall pick and roll duo. Cause oh man, if John Wall could do that with Marcin Gortat, he can make if he makes Gortat look good. I could only just imagine Vita Zubac, and I have a lot of films to break it down. So number one, just obviously just feed the man the ball, and number two is allow him to attempt some mid-range jump shot, or like even like one attempt for threes, or maybe two attempts. I don't know, but like don't need. I'm not saying have Zubac just straight up play like a shooting guard, but like I don't know if is it because Zubac's just not confident enough to expand his range, or Tyronn Lue's just being a little too strict with Ivica Zubac to not expand the range. But either way, I believe Zubac should get like a little green light by Tyler Lue that say like just essentially give him like a confirmation that hey, you could if you're like wide open, if the Clippers have a comfortable lead, or if we're losing real bad, or just essentially if you're just feeling it, just give Zubac like a light, like a little green light that say hey, just feel free to attempt like a little bit of expanding your range, because You don't know until you try, or and it's part of a learning process. If he's not making it, just encourage Zubac to go more in the post, just stick to his comfort zone. But like every other like times, just give him a green light to try to expand his range, because one thing I can suspect on why a lot of Clippers fans don't like Ivica Zubac, like they criticize him for all these things, that he's slow, he can't play defense, or he just has the butterfingers, which is those are true, but but plenty of other bigs like but those things, but all right, let's get to the point. Let's just get to what the points that these people who criticize Zubac for. Those are the same people who want players like Jonas Valanciunas and Nikola Vucevic, but if you really think about the difference, it's just both of them shoots threes. So they're both like more on the clumsy side of the spectrum. At least I think Vucevic is. They're both slow, which is both of them. But the difference is they have the ability to shoot threes. And Zubac, just him not being able to shoot threes, he gets all the easy scapegoats on basically why we should just simply get rid of Zubac. Which is, I don't believe we should just get rid of Zubac just for just for bags of chips, because like if you really think about it, if you just utilize him properly, he could be a quality big man, or even like somewhat like a fringe borderline all star, kind of like a Powell or a Marc Gasol, basically like the Gasol twins. Because those are just my favorite comparison with Zubac, because they both have the similar situations. They were just like clumsy, but when you utilize them in the right situation, their potential is pretty good. So number three is just like a little fun idea I just put, is um just try to hire like a legendary big to work with Ivica Zubac, because plenty of NBA teams are known of just like having like a legend just work with their players. I remember hearing when the Clippers drafted Michael Olowokandi back in 1999, they hired Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to train him, that's a luxury. That's just a luxury. And then, unfortunately, Michael Olowokandi did not want to take any advantage of it. He was, from what I heard, supposedly hard-headed. But, but man, I believe the Clippers chickens. Like, I don't know if Kareem is, willing to do that since he's like over 70 years old. But if the Clippers could just do something similar to that, like maybe try to get a Hakeem Olajuwon to work with him, or get like um essentially Hakeem or maybe David Robinson to work with him, or if you get Kareem to work with Ivica Zubac, that would be such a dream. Just because Zubac, he loves doing the hook shots. Every time when he like scores, he would tend to do the hook shots. He just like trying to just needs to do it more properly. And imagine Kareem just training him. That's just gorgeous. Now, basically, the huge thing that Ivica Zubac definitely needs to work on, though, and it could be both the Clippers staff and Zubac himself in general, is just try to find ways on how he can work on his butterfingers, because like his biggest Achilles heels is just the butterfingers, because when they try to pass him the ball, Zubac would just simply lose the ball easily, kind of like how I would do, unfortunately, but different story. But and also, in Zubac's defense, there were just a decent amount of moments when players would just throw like a fairly bad pass. Like they would throw a pass that's like a little too far from Ivica Zubac, and Ivica Zubac just fails to catch it, because understandably, if someone throws a bad pass, it'll be really tough to catch. And another thing Zubac could work on is he could definitely try to work on trying to guard like semi quicker players. Like unfortunately in the modern day NBA, well, especially particularly for Ivica Zubac, this is more kind of like a guard oriented type league. So like, and there is definitely a lot of pick and rolls, and you know, let's just say a guy like Chris Paul, um, Luka Doncic, Stephen Curry, like they would always hunt down the bigs. And Zubac, he's no stranger of getting hunted down in a pick and rolls. And unfortunately, like if it was like 2002, 2002. or even 2010, he may be okay with being a semi-slow big, but unfortunately, he got to try to modernize his game and be quicker on his feet, at least if he's not going to be able to really shoot threes. So, those are just the five big factors on what the Clippers could just do with Ivica Zubac. Like, just mainly just feed him the ball and also just allow him to be able to expand his range because, like, the league is changing and bigs, they're essentially able to shoot threes. This is not 2002, and this is 2022. So definitely, like, kind of give Zubac the green light to expand his range. If it's not like bad, which is it actually isn't bad because his free throw percentage is at his peak is like 80%. Right now it's like kind of like 70%, which is still not bad. He could hit his free throw, so he doesn't have the free throw Achilles heels. So let's just dig into some film. All right, so this is like the jump hook that the Ivica Zubac loves to do. So let's just go back. Let's just go back. Spam dribble, like looks like Zubac would just simply just take the basket here, and then he just does his turnaround, and then bam, that hook. This is what I mean when I say, like, imagine if you get Kareem to train Ivica Zubac. Like, this is just him, just showing his underrated ball handling. That's actually one thing that's somewhat underrated about the Ivica Zubac is just his handles are actually I mean, they're not like great compared to like Kyrie Irving or anything, but like for a big man standard, that was just actually pretty impressive. Like, let's just go back to his shooting form again. Imagine if Kareem is working him with that. Imagine if Zubac was in Michael Olowokandi situation, having Kareem mentor him, having Kareem train him. He'd be he'd be tough. He'd be tough. Like, this is just that's one thing that's so underappreciated about Zubac. People expect him to shoot, want him to just essentially I don't know, like people criticize Zubac that he cannot shoot and all that, but they're forgetting that he does his nice little hook shots. And then let's see, third clip. Vicha Zubac. So another thing he does really good is he does the little things. He sets screens, and team just got a mid range, like a better shot. So again, Aaron Gordon, a really good defender. Screen, boom, bam. Also, Terrence Mann could have tried to feed Zubac the ball at this play. Like, see, Zubac kind of had a little opening, but at the same time, maybe in Terrence Mann defense, Gordon and Jokic could have took the ball. But if this was John Wall, that would have been an easy feed, and then Zubac could have just got a beautiful, gorgeous dunk. Like, that is also this is one big point about Ivica Zubac is there are moments when Zubac would just call for the ball in his hand. Zubac would just not get fed, and that's another factor of him just not being used properly. Now let's get into some John Wall clips. Or no, never mind. There's one more Zubac clip, and it's his playmaking. So it looks like Zubac could get an easy dunk right on Jalen Brunson, who's very little on the Ivica Zubac. He's 6'1" versus 7'1". But what Zubac does, he just does his interesting pass because Terrence Mann was essentially wide open, and then bam. Now, Zubac's passing is kind of like the drawing is kind of like the bridge on why I definitely say Zubac is kind of like a Gasol, like either Powell or Marc Gasol because their biggest strength is their passing. They're not like a Nikola Jokic type passing, but their passing is exceptionally good for a big man, and they both fit the prototype. They're both pretty slow, they're pretty clumsy, but their IQ is pretty solid. But now let's get to some John Wall clips. Look at that, just bam, boom, feeding Gortat. Like, Gortat does not even really do the hook shots. He just does like a basic putback. I could only imagine if John Wall could make Gortat look pretty good. then I could only imagine Ivica Zubac. Like, and also Gortata's also like more on the slower side of the spectrum too. Can't shoot threes. Probably is a worse free throw shooter, but John Wall still made him look good. He spoon feeds the heck out of Gortat. Just bam. Oh my goodness, just look at this. Check this out. Check this out. Bam. Whoa. What was that? Was just different. Like, I cannot wait to see John Wall do this with Ivica Zubac. Just bam. Just dom. And then boom. If this was Zubac, it would have been even a harder hammer because Zubac is just essentially like even much stronger than Gortat and it's even bigger than Gortat. So those are just some factors on how the Clippers could just make Zubac like a really good breakout player of the year. Like Zubac will essentially just be in one of the ladders on, well, basically be in the area of like a quality big man. Like Zubac is a really underrated player. It's just simple as that. And but yeah, those are just all the resources that I just digged up to kind of like share my points on how Ivica Zubac could potentially be a breakout player. Like, let me know what you think in this video. Like, could Zubac potentially take his game to the next level? Is Zubac trash? Should he get traded? Should we keep him? What should we do with Ivica Zubac? Just leave all the comments down below, and I'll definitely get with y'all in the comment sections. As y'all know, peace.